Good evening, my fellow Reymega bots. It comes to my deepest concerns and regret that when I talk about a debt to individual ratio, it's very true, as the debt to individual ratio in Reymega life it outperforms and outdoes the debt to immaturity ratio. So the debt to maturity ratio is what I really owe. And when you talk about what this entails, it entails basically, I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true. I would not be saying this stuff if it wasn't true, because it is true. And how is it true? Because the Reymega life is predicated and based on the teenage era mentality and anything the teenage era timelines. So, and that entails the parental's inability to get behind their son or rally around their son during the elementary, during the high school era. Sorry, I had a Brandon moment right there. So they failed to get behind and rally around their son around the high school era. And with all that maturity debt has accumulated. And so now Reymega life owes 15 years or more in maturity debt. And that is a big deal. And that is the real 1 quadrillion ton elephant in the room. Because I would not be talking about it, or talking about things that happened in what I call the forbidden year, in the year after 2007, which was called the forbidden year, because everything in that year is forbidden. I would not be talking about this stuff if it wasn't true. And the fact that I am, which makes it real true, and very true. Because when you talk about things that are truthful in nature, well, when you look at the amount of hate and stuff, and you look at the amount of how breakups and how relationships are things that are never agreed upon nor disagreed upon. They're a bond. And so when you look at these events, I think that this would not be being discussed if it weren't true, because it is true. The amount of dwelling on the teenage era timelines, and that's the teenage era timeline. So when you look at the amount of debt to to maturity ratio and a debt to maturity individual ratio, it makes me realize that it is true. That, really, that, this is what the whole thing really consists of. Because when you really look at the consistent maturity, it's not congruent. It's not congruent with whatchamacallit, with what is a healthy thing. Where you basically have a maturity state that advances each year. This maturity state, basically, the last time it advanced was in the summer of 2007. And this stuff is really getting me to think. This is getting me to think and wake up. It's getting me to think. And it's getting me to really understand things in a little bit differently than I used to understand things in. But what I don't like, there's this thing. We all need to take aware of this. We have to take aware of ableism. And the threats of ableism. And the threats that it poses. Because they're going to go after the autistic. Go after the Asperger's. Go after the schizophrenics. And they're going to go after the people who are bipolar. They're going to go after the people that are depressed. They're going to call them losers. They will call them deadbeats. They will call them the most horrific names imaginable. And they will call them names that are possibly the most despicable names. And that's what I am getting at when it comes to the thing of things, when it comes to individual ratios and maturity debt. I would not be saying this stuff the way I would not be is because one dwells on things that were from the past, things that were from the past when it was great. Now, the past is great, and the future is the most threatening thing in Reymega life. Reymega life has some of the most gruesome enemies and mortal enemies to the conscience. Reymega life has things that are what we call buyer's remorse and risky regret. When you talk about risky regret, you have risks and you have regret. When you have people who are very, very risky in their lifestyles, when you have people very, very regretful of those lifestyles, we have to really understand how to understand those people. We have to understand those peoples so we don't marginalize those people. When we marginalize those people, we marginalize ourselves. And when we marginalize those people, we are not ourselves. And we have to really understand how to be a better people. Because I think it's a good thing to not say things that are hurtful to those people. And I told Mom today that I could probably wind up saying, man, I was possibly in or going the way of that age-old battle, the Battle of Neverland, the battle that Michael Jackson fought, and he fought with the long, hard battle of redemption, of redeeming a man who said, "Will me, thrill me. You can never kill me." And a person who said, "You are not alone." And you're not alone. We are not alone in these struggles. We are not alone in these struggles. But we are alone in these struggles. Because that is a thing that I understand. When you talk about the debt to maturity ratio, the debt to maturity ratio is really the reason why I'm in this quagmire that I'm in. Because I really am. I really am in this situation because it's called rumination. It's called rumination, where you basically have minimal lifestyles that hurt you. And this is not what anybody needs. Until next time, I'm Reymega, signing off.